The story begins with the two guys carefully stepping into the woods and aiming to hunt an animal. The old man uses a bow to direct an arrow, but he can't kill the prey completely. The animal runs away with bleeding, and those guys follow him to find nothing at the end. However, they find a track that leads them to two abandoned cars. Old man searches one car and finds useless things. Meanwhile, young guy searches another car and finds some biscuits in a wrapper. He quickly eats those biscuits without letting old man notice. Accidentally, his arm hits a horn that makes a noise loudly. Suddenly, they heard some wild dogs coming in their direction, so the old man gets into the same car and hides there until the dogs clear their path. They return to their hideout, and on the way, a young guy drops the biscuits wrapper. Their hideout is in the jungle, which is made up of wooden sticks. Along with those guys, there is a young girl who lives with them, and she stays here in the bed all the time due to a severe injury in her guts. She is on medications to minimize the infection, which can be worse considering how filthy everything is. In the morning, the young guy goes out to dump in a gutter. Suddenly, he listens to the sounds behind him. He quickly runs to his hideout and wakes everyone to see a group of human hunters coming there. They pack their bags and leave the hideout from the back door. They help the injured girl move on, and in the process, the young man drops his backpack of medicines. They cannot run away in the time, so old man realizes they will be found out shortly. He hides those young ones in the gutter where they can see outside through the slit. Expectedly, those human hunters notice the old man. Old man struggles back to save himself, but they hit him to death. They run an errand to search in the hideout and collect everything, including the backpack the young guy dropped. They pick up the dead old man to make his barbecue and leave the place. Those in the gutter come back to the hideout. Young guy finds a biscuit wrapper near his hideout, which means those hunters pin down their hideout after seeing the wrapper. Girl goes back to her bed and loses consciousness in her pain. Without any medications, the young guy finds it suitable to choke her to death instead of having a miserable death. But his love for her does not permit him. He leaves the hideout and completely blocks the door from outside. He roams around the forest and faints to the ground due to extreme cold. After a while, he notices a child passing by, so he starts following this kid to his hideout. Kid is living with a diseased old man. Young guy quickly robs them off with the pants and coat that the old man is wearing. After walking to a distance, he discovers the bones of a man in the bonfire location. These are the bones of none other than the old man those hunters captured. He collects those bones and buries them in wet ground. Going ahead, he climbs up a tree and looks at the smoke coming out from a location on another mountain. Poor boy trips from the tree and falls on his back, cracking his fragile bones. Again, those wild dogs hear his mourning sounds and come running here. This guy uses his mind. In the bonfire, the flames have nearly died out, but he blows in the remaining embers and spreads fire once more. The mouth-filled dogs surround him and he shoves fired sticks to prevent them from attacking him. Luckily, he manages to evade those dogs and spends the night near the bonfire. He roams in the forest in the morning and finds a girl who belongs to the group of human hunters. For some reason, he quietly follows her to her hideout that has none other than her. Seeing she is busy, he infiltrates her hideout and looks out for his backpack. He manages to find it, but there is nothing in his backpack. In the upfront mirror, he sees a reflection of that girl coming with an axe, so he dodges her attack and hits her with a rock that bleeds her to death. He sees her other partners are coming back to their hideout, so he quickly washes the blood on the ground and picks up his backpack. Even he drags her dead body into the forest and hides behind a large and wide tree. From this location, he sees those guys have captured that small kid who had a grandpa in the hideout back there. Moreover, young man finds out the medicines are in the hands of an old hunter guy. He gives medicines to another injured man and then hides those medicines in a box. A man comes in the direction of the protagonist, but it's just to pee under the tree. However, on his way, he finds an axe on the ground. He alerts his men that their partner might be in danger, so they all disperse to find the girl. Young man, taking this chance, hides the dead body in the wet sand and quietly rushes to their hideout. The injured man is still there, but shortly he goes back to the house. Protagonist quickly runs to the kid and cuts his binding ropes to free him. Injured guy notices something is going on outside, and by the time he comes, kid flees away and he runs after him. Young man takes his time and tries to open the locked box. Even he hits it hard with his foot, but nothing works. Soon he listens to those guys returning, so he rushes to hide under their hideout box. They return and find out their prey is long gone, and the injured guy who went after Kid also returns empty-handed. They continue their search and manage to find the dead body of the girl. Later on, they burn her on fire. The time passes and young boy remains under the house unnoticed. In the morning, he comes out of hiding and sneaks into the house box where everyone is sleeping soundly. He uses a lighter to light up the room and quietly steals the keys the old man is wearing. He swiftly leaves the room to outside and uses the keys to open the box. Here, he gets his hands on the medicines among other filthy stuff. Then he locks down the house door instead of locking the box back and runs in a rush. Here he makes a mistake. He runs into the string of the alarm bell that he was avoiding at any cost. The old man has huge ears to hear the faint ring sound. He wakes up immediately and alarms his fellows. They all break the door to chase after him. On the other hand, young girl back at his hideout comes to her senses and finds out young man is nowhere around. She listens to the wild dogs surrounding the hideout. They run a rampage. Even one of them manages to sneak in, breaking the wooden sticks. Protagonist runs along the water stream with those guys following him. They almost catch him, but he manages to chase them away. He runs to the hideout of a kid and finds there is just the dead body of Grandpa. Those wild dogs made their way and tore his body apart. He leaves the house all sad and lost in his thoughts. Those hunter guys also catch up to him and hit his head hard with something. They take him back to the woods and bind his hands and mouth with a piece of cloth. When they are busy preparing the bonfire, he slithers across the ground and grabs the whistle to blow it loudly. Well, it's a sign for these guys to run, because the wild dogs heard the sound and they are running at high speed there. When they are gone, Protagonist uses a blade to cut his bindings and quickly hides behind a large log. Those wild dogs fail to notice him and move on. Those hunters do their best to run fast, but one girl trips over and injures her leg. Nonetheless, she still drags her leg and runs as far as she can. The old man, being a ruthless guy, can think of making her a scapegoat for saving his own life. He cuts her leg and moves ahead. Later on, those wild dogs stop back to hunt her and serve their bellies. Old man and the other two guys come back to their spot just to find their prey has fled away. They disperse to begin their search following his bleeding. Protagonist has come far ahead, but he trips over a branch. He is breathless, so he takes a rest against a tree and faints out. A hunter guy notices him from the back. Hiding behind a tree, he takes soft steps and plunges to get him, but it's just a jacket. His prey is actually hiding up on the tree, who jumps onto him. They both brawl with each other, and hunter guy seems to having upper hand, but young guy's sight falls on the knife beside them. Another hunter dude sees his fellow has finally captured his prey, and he is dragging his body to bring him back. So that dude approaches him off guard, but he notices something is off. He is right. It's our protagonist who killed hunter dude. Before this guy does anything, our protagonist attacks him first and takes his life on the spot. Now the last one left is the ruthless old man. Young boy takes his bow and faces the old man in a field. Young guy shoots an arrow, injuring old man's leg, and when he is about to shoot another arrow, his bow breaks down. Suddenly they hear dogs coming up close, so they find running a good option for now. Old man cannot run at a fast pace, and those dogs catch up to him to get him. Young guy roams alone in the forest and sees an old house. There's no one living inside, just old stuff and guns. Thankfully, there is still some water running in the tap. He quenches his thirst and fills his bag with canned food. Soon, someone enters the house and it's the same old man. He survived the wild dog attack. Young man quickly grabs a gun and triggers it, but no bullets come out. Old man takes this chance and attacks him. Their fight ends with a headshot at the old man. Young man has now taken revenge on his old man by killing each hunter group member. His path is clear now. He runs back to his hideout where he finds out its door is open and a young girl is nowhere to be found. His heart fills with sorrow. He went through all for nothing. However, the story ends with a girl walking behind him and patting his shoulder.